what transpired between me and Adaramodu started in 2023, while Honorable Jemila was the Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Youth Development, the Ministry of Youth Development. So it happened that during the NSAS, after the NSAS protest, I just, what can we even do to stop this issue of youth restiveness, all these protests to empower our youth? And at least if youths are empowered, you will not see them on the street being used as instruments, as thugs and all that. So I started doing a research that what can we do for the Nigerian youth, not even just the Ekiti State youth. Because even if Adaramodu, in fact, if Adaramodu was not the chairman Senate committee, there wouldn't have been any problem. This project would have been executed the way it should be. But knowing Adaramodu for who he is, a very cunning liar, a pathological liar, and a very cunning and manipulative individual, I tried everything to ensure that we didn't get to this stage. Because for 1 year, I was going to him every day in his house, his office, to tell him that, Oga, this project, the fund appropriated for this project cannot be diverted, that it cannot be embezzled. And I will not negotiate with you on any terms aside the project this money was appropriated for. So like I was saying before I digressed, I conceived a project that involves a construction of youth development center across all the senatorial districts in Nigeria, which consists of football academy, ICT hub, and workshops, hostels, medical facilities, and all that. Just the way you will see a standard development center abroad. We came up with that idea, and each of that development center is to cost 1 billion naira in wherever it's going to be sited. So in the first phase, because we have about 109 senatorial districts in Nigeria or something like that, so like we cannot, there's no budget of a particular year that can accommodate this project one. So that we should start it like putting 3 in each region of the country, like 18. So we later concluded that we'll have like 18 or 20 in the first phase of the project. And I worked with the Ministry of Youth Development, with their staff, their directors, right from year 2023 to 2025, until that project was appropriated for. Yemi Adaramodu will bear me witness that the day, being the chairman of the Senate committee, we decided, okay, we are going to put one in his hometown in Ilawe to honor him. And normally, wherever we are going to, the senator of that place will be the one to fund maybe the accommodation and the feeding or allowances of people like that are coming. In Adaramodu's case, when we came to Ilawe, 1 kobo he did not give us. He did not give the people that came from the ministry, the engineers, the surveyors, the architects, the team that came. Ask him if he dropped 1 kobo for them. So I brought these people from Abuja. They did every evaluation, everything. That was how we did it in more than 20 states, in like 20 states in Nigeria, in the north central, northeast, north west, in southwest, southeast, in south. But yes, we went everywhere for that, to do evaluation, to get lands in the name of Ministry of Youth Development, where we are going to start that thing. So along the line, it got to a point that we got stuck because they curated, I don't know if you know what it's called, ERGP. That's if you want to curate, that's what they do to curate lines and fund projects in the national budget. So they created that ERGP and it was not funded. 2 things that Adaramodu did for me in this project, in fairness to him, let me mention it. When I was having issues commencing this project and partnering with the Ministry of Youth, he gave me a letter of recommendation to the ministry. And when the letter was not being attended to by the then minister, Honorable Jamila, he invited both of us to a meeting and we met. I met with the minister and we discussed, and from there the project progressed. He did that for me. And when there was an issue that the project, they just created a line, they didn't put money for it, and I went back to it. Okay, my own and I went to the minister. I don't want to be mentioning what happened between minister because he's also a brother. I meet with him on this. So, but what Adaramodu did there was also assisting in seeing that the projects between the senators that the projects were finally appropriated for, with us doing certain things, lobbying to get that project to get it appropriated for in the national budget of 2025, which he cannot say is not aware of what I did. But all along to today, Adaramodu did not spend one kobo on that project. So when the money, he was telling me that, okay, even if it's 5 billion, they will help you push. That was at his imagination. But he didn't know I had all that background arrangement that I was doing, lobbying and all that. So at the end of the day, he just saw that the project came out and 20 billion naira was appropriated for it. As at that point, so it just changed. And the project that we were supposed to do, people that invested, that supported us with money, which is what Adaramodu is now claimed that I defrauded people. Somebody that will walk to a stage of getting 20 billion naira appropriated in the national budget, you will know that it's not small work that that person has done. And you will know that it doesn't cost sand or stone to get a project to that level. Money must have exchanged hands. You must have spent money. You must have spent time. You must have invested your time and money in such a thing. So when the thing came out, Adaramodu just came and he said, wọn kàn ní lò fún youth center yẹn mọ́ wọn kàn máa fi ṣe empowerment fáwọn youth wọn á ra kẹ̀kẹ́ wọn á ra machine wọn á ṣe kíní kan. I just looked at, I shook my head like that. I said, ọ̀gá, ẹ yẹ kí n sọ fún yín, that cannot happen. That cannot happen. Nobody can use that money for anything else except what that money was appropriated for. That was how we have been on it for 1 year. If you know his security, his brothers, everybody around him, they will tell you that I kept on warning him that the day I will finally go publicly with you on this matter, it will be like a nemesis to you. I'm going to fight you to a standstill. I remember warning him like that for good 1 year. But he thought maybe the way he used to manipulate people, believing that he's powerful, he thought he could manipulate me like that. But I stood my ground until about 2-3 weeks ago. I think that was on the 6th of February. He started mobilizing all the senators, all the ministry people that I work with. He was mobilizing them against me. I was looking at him, I was just laughing. And finally, the day he will finally push me to the end, to the elastic limit, he sent Honorable Nkakirele, that's the person they call Agimbe. He appointed him as a consultant to the Ministry of Youth. He now sent that person to me to come and tell me that, I don't want to be telling so much stories about what transpired, the meeting I had with that man at the Ministry of Youth Development. Finally, to cut a long story short, he just told me that, PS low award, I told him, I said, sir, I said, don't get involved in this, because this is going to be very messy. That if Adaramodu dare spend 1 kobo out of that money, apart from what we intended to use that money to do, I told him that, okay, so he cannot spend that money. I told him he cannot spend that money. And that was it. And since then, when he saw that I started making noise on it on social media, he decided to get me arrested and collude with Biodun Yebanji and to get me arrested and incarcerate me. And because I frustrated all his attempts in Abuja, Nigeria as a politician, so every of his attempts to use police in Abuja to arrest me, I frustrated it, proving to him that he can be a senator. I might not be a governor, but he might be a chairman, local government. But in this Nigeria, I am now a factor. So because he could not use Abuja police, that was why I had him went to Ekiti and gave them money that at all costs they must get him. And that's where the point.
Now, looking at the contribution of the senator, according to you, do you accept him as a partner in this project?
He's not a partner. The only thing that makes him to be involved is just because he's a chairman of that ministry. He oversees the ministry. And I feel that he has been the chairman of that committee. Like when he was in the House of Rep for 4 years, he was in the chairman of that same committee on youth development. Or he has spent now like almost 7 years as the chairman of that committee. Ask him in all of his 7 years there, when has he ever effected or lobbied or gotten a project that is even worth 2 billion naira? So if you see that your sister, let me just say that, formerly, I used to be his sister, now did something like that, which at the end of the day, if we are able to implement that, it will promote you, it will sell you to Nigerians. Are you supposed to frustrate that? Even if you wanted something, yeah, ọmọ yìí, iṣẹ́ yìí, 18 àbí 20, ẹ fún mi ní mélòó kan. It is not that I told him that he was not telling me, I told him, I said, that is my project. You don't have an idea what it's all about. And I know all you want to do is to spend and divert the money and embezzle it. I said, it will run on my terms, not on your terms. So he felt I was challenging him. Sometimes it just be come on away. Come on, I'll tell you, not me.
When was this project supposed to have been executed?
We were supposed to start the execution immediately after the budget was passed and the president has sentenced to it. Even though somehow the 2025 budget was not really funded, but I had investors that were ready to start implementing that project. I took these people that Adaramodu that is now using against me, I took them to his house. We had meeting with him 3 times. He now brought them in a way of divide and rule. He now promised them, don't worry, I'm the chairman of that committee. It is me that can give you contract. Let us gather against her so that we can push her out. That's what the game is playing. That's what he has always been doing in Ekiti. But this time around, I've told him, Yemi Adaramodu, I will be your nemesis. And that's where we are.
What is the fate of this project? I mean, on the basis of what's going on now?
After the last time, before I met that is a consultant, Honorable Yinka Kirele, I went to meet with the Minister of Youth, Honorable Olawande. I went to meet with him sometime in January, and I said, oh, guy, this is what has been happening over this project up to now. This is another year. This is another year. I want this project to be implemented. And in fairness to him, he told me that there's no problem, that the only problem we have been having with this issue is the senator, or he just said the National Assembly. He does not really mention his name like that, but he will say it's the National Assembly that has been the bottleneck. But he said this project now, that I know they did not really fund that 2025 budget, that they are rolling over the 2025 budget to 2026. That is, that money will still be there, appropriated. But on his way out, he now said something like, but like for a guy is trying to break down that money. That's for guys Adaramodu now. He's now trying to break the money and put it in different maybe projects. At the end of the day, you will not see that money again. And at that point, I went to Adaramodu and tell him, I did not go to him, because the last time I went there, I told him, I will never come to your house again. This is the last time I will come to your office and your house. That the next thing me and you will be on, I will draw the battle line with you and will be on the battlefield. That if you dare touch that money, that's and that was, I think, at the point he started using my friends that I introduced to him against him. promising them that I will give them that contract because I cannot award it to them.
Now, you are seen as an Ekiti woman who is in battle with the most powerful people in the land, with a senator and with a state government, a state governor, and with the ruling party in the state.
No, I don't have any issues with the ruling party in the state.
So,
despite the fact that the governor is manipulating them against every other aspirant, my party remains my party. They have not offended me in any way.
okay, is there any condition under which you can reconcile with Governor Yebanji today?
If he decides to resign and to recuse himself from going ahead to contest in the 2026 election, I think there can be peace.
And Adaramodu?
Adaramodu, I've made up my mind that I will ensure that he steps down from the Senate to be investigated. So I don't have any, because for them to even dare to attack my son, I'm not sure I can forgive them for that. If they came and they got me and they even incarcerated, it wouldn't have been that painful compared to them inflicting pains on my innocent child. I'm not sure they can be forgiven.
People of the fountain.